Derek Stapley. How you doing, my man?
Good. How are you doing, buddy?
Good. So before we get going here, I have to start with it's been, I live my life in my home office,
Mhm.
or on the road in an airplane, traveling around doing speaking stuff. It's been so long since I had my agency. And I had this euphoria this morning when we walked into your office, and you've got all these agents in here and everybody's headed down the same path, and we're sitting out with our feet up on the coffee table or in the break room, and we're talking about business and the changes with, Medicare and all this stuff. And it just so dawned on me that there's probably so many people, that listen to this podcast that are independent agents working out of their home that have no idea the power of synergy, of
Yeah.
just being with people on a day-to-day basis. Um, I just had to comment, and you got an amazingly cool office too, so that helps too. But I guess I'll set it up just real quick. Derek Stapley, owner of Apex Insurance. My very first protege 10 years ago when I started my consulting firm turned into be one of my best friends. I'm out in Oregon to do some speaking engagements and doing a little bit of work, a little bit of play, and thought it'd be an awesome time for us to finally sit down and do one of these together. Maybe a good thing to do right now, Derek, is, just take a couple minutes and just tell everybody a little bit about who Apex is, and then we can kind of get into meat and potatoes.
Sure. Yeah. So Apex Insurance, it's what how I would describe it is it's a boutique IMO. And your comments about getting to be with other agents, headed down the same path, same goal. That was really what we were trying to create with our culture here, right? If you're an independent agent, it can be a very lonely business, right? And I've been there, done that. And one of the things I wanted to try to accomplish with our setup was give those types of interactions, have a team that's around you without sacrificing comp that you would normally get in an agency model, right? Um, Been there, done that as well. And so it was kind of a blend of both worlds, is what we were going for, but it definitely does make the journey a little bit easier, from my opinion. Everybody seems to like it. It's good to have people around you um, that are trying to accomplish the same things, right? And in our industry, there's so much market that it's not like, oh, I don't want to be around other people because they're my competition, right? I think the community aspect of this is really what helps our team grow and become better.
Yeah, there's so much power in synergy. And, I did, I don't know, it's been a month or two ago, but I put out a video where I broke down the differences between FMOs, or what I call majors, and then IMOs. And there's, a bunch of those. And then there's mini IMOs, which is really what Apex is.
That's right.
And there's a lot of great ones, and there's a lot of ones that, are landmines that people step on. And a lot of times you can go to mini IMOs where you can get that culture. You can get people that are going down the same road as you, and that's all good. And if you're really lucky, you can get a mentor or somebody that can kind of train you.
Yeah.
But in a lot of them, you sacrifice a lot of compensation to get to that. Where what you set up with a boutique shop is, I mean, I don't really seen your comp plans, but from what I've seen, your agents make about the same thing as any street agent out there does. But
Yeah.
because you guys bring all of your production underneath one umbrella, they get all the resources of the community. And you, as an agency owner, get to make a little override on what, that cumulative business, gives you from your downline. And so it's not a 30-40% pay cut for insurance agents. And yet you still get all that mentorship, training, marketing programs. And so it's really cool what you've done.
Yeah.
So kudos to you on that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and that's exactly right. Right, we because of the setup of what we put together, you're not taking haircut and comps, right? But you're still getting that agency level feel that you don't get normally, right? And the cool thing about my team, and this is something I'm very proud of, is anybody you call on our team has done what you're trying to do, right? So we don't have anybody that we just hired for a specific role that never was an insurance agent, independent agent, trying to build their own book business. In fact, most people on our team are still doing that, right? They're still managing their book of business or growing it. So, different perspectives matter. The way I do things doesn't match everybody's personality and business type. So having multiple people that have gone down the path and being able to bounce ideas off them, it's hard to put a price tag on that, but I think it's worth a lot.
Well, one of the things I want to make sure that I get into this podcast, at least up front, for those of the people that might watch and not make it all the way through, to me, the the most impressive thing that you've accomplished is how you market, how you get in front of people. Because I didn't teach you this. This was something you figured out on your own. And I know you like to use the word grassroots,
Yeah.
but we're talking about business referral systems.
Yep.
Your whole agency, you guys, I don't think you buy any leads. You don't do a lot of different typical type marketing stuff. You're all set up through, as you call, grassroots marketing programs. And I want you to talk a little bit about that, for our listeners and give an idea what that means.
Sure. Well, this will resonate with everybody doing certifications right now, gearing up for annual enrollment period. Each year, the dreaded time of having to recertify and go through all the new rules and changes, what the CMS previous year's final rule is, etc. About 2020, I was sitting there thinking about how regulation was shifting. And, my first agency that I built out in Kansas, when I first started working with you, we built the entirety of that agency off of lead programs. It was buying leads, working those leads, getting referrals, etc. But back then, the return was really high. There wasn't as much regulation in place at the time, so it made sense on paper to do that. And it just felt like every year the regulations were changing in such a way that was just becoming impossible. And so I sat there and I just thought, well, how are we going to continue to get clients in front of us? What is the type of interactions we want, right? And the answer became pretty clear that the best clients we have, the clients that have the lowest amount of service work typically and are with us the longest typically, happen to come from referrals from our current clients. So it's like, okay, that's the idea. Our highest value client is going to be a referral. So how do we expand that from just not getting referrals from just our clients, but strategic partners in the community? And so we kind of went all in on building relationships with financial advisors, with clinics and dentists and gyms, anybody that was engaging with our demographic we were trying to get in front of, and forming those partnerships so that they knew how we could help people, how it would help them. And as a result, we became the resource for them. So now our main focus is community outreach. Where can we be involved where we're putting an Apex agent in front of the right people that can be there to answer questions and help people understand what we do? And it's been very fruitful.
So what's your pitch? Like you walk into a clinic or a gym or one of these places.
Sure.
What you've never talked to them before. You walk into one of these places. What do you say to them? What's your pitch for them to partner with you?
Yeah, so it's the value proposition is the same for a gym and a clinic, right? Most gyms or clinics use certain plans for members. A gym, for instance, may be Silver Sneakers or Silver and Fit. And some gyms have a preference on which one of those they'll allow, which ones they won't. So understanding what works with the gym and then helping them understand that, hey, we have plans that we can enroll people in. And if you give us the opportunity and it makes sense for the client, we can show them, hey, if going to this gym is important to you, this is the plan you need to be on. Likewise with the clinic, right? And especially in today's day and age with all the network disruption and plans losing contracts and this and that, understanding your local hospitals and clinics, what carriers they like to work with. And aside from that as well as what product even. Is it MedAdvantage or do they like traditional Medicare? And there's a little bit of both. And you just have to understand that. And it's an education. It's letting them know, hey, I'm a broker. I represent XYZ plans. I do both product lines. People come to us for helping them enroll, get advice, and we can help navigate that to make sure that your patients are on a plan that works best for you. And it's important to most consumers that their plan allows them to use the services that they want to use. Right.
To use the doctors that they want to use.
That's right. Yeah. Especially your doctors. They don't want to give up their doctor unless they have to. So it's a win-win all the way around. You just have it's an education piece.
Well, and it's it's a long game too. It's not something that, you just walk out, grab a deal, and I have a referral source tomorrow forever on. Obviously, it's a relationship building process, but there's so many agents out there. And God, this would scare the hell out of me, but there's so many people out there that they live and die on purchasing leads.
Yeah.
And, we've all done that to some degree. And especially if you're getting started out, you gotta get the wheel going.
Yeah.
But it's not a good long-term plan, and if people are out there still year 2, year 3, year 4 in this business, that's still their marketing system is purchasing leads. They're not thinking long-term very well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not fast. It's a process. And so you've got to really go out. It's not, you don't go meet a doctor once, like you said, and then all of a sudden your phone's ringing, right? You've got to get back in front of them, help out in events, whatever, multiple times before that starts happening. And then the next key to that recipe is when they send you referrals, you have to do an exceptional job, because that's going to come back to them. And if they don't believe you're doing an exceptional job, or they hear, anything other than, wow, we love those guys, they're not going to continue to recommend your name. They don't want to do that, just like you wouldn't recommend somebody that you thought did a bad job. So making sure, we're paying attention to who's sending us who, and making sure we're doing an exceptional job for all of those members, it really feeds off itself, and then it starts to snowball.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. It's long-term marketing thinking. And our whole business, the difference between the people that are struggling to get by and the people that are on the golf course 5 days a week, it's the people that mastered the art of marketing and thought long-term about it. So kudos to you on that. So on top of all these grassroots marketing programs that you guys have set up, what else are you doing to get in front of people on a consistent basis?
Yeah, so something we started doing just in the last few years is we've started paying attention to the commercial group space. And the reason for that actually goes back to Kansas, when I lived there, right? Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas, it's almost like a cult out there, right? Everybody knows them. Everybody wants that insurance. It's in their mind, it's the only one that pays. When I started thinking about why that was, well, what came to mind is that these people have had Blue Cross Blue Shield throughout their whole career. And so it's an obvious off-ramp when they get into Medicare to just go directly to Blue Cross Blue Shield, because it's what they've known. And I was like, well, they've created an ecosystem of self-referrals in that regard. Well, we should do that too. We should be helping groups do their medical insurance so that when their employees eventually get to retirement land, we're their first call. That just made sense to me, right? So, and there's a lot of opportunity in that space. I think if you're looking at level-funded products and self-funded products, and you're looking at it from a different angle than your traditional broker, there's a lot of room out there. There's a lot of people not looking at these options, and it can really help a business.
What's the learning curve for that? I mean, I think people that have never done group insurance are probably scared of that. I've never done it. Is it a big learning curve?
It's definitely different than Medicare. I can tell you that. It's a much more complex process. But I think it's very fruitful. We have group accounts now that pay us very well, right, for the efforts we have. There's great compensation. But again, we're getting Medicare referrals out of the process. When they age in, they're coming to us, because why wouldn't they? So kind of creating a miniature Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas model in our local markets is what we were trying to accomplish with that. And then it's just kind of grown from there. Then we realized, wow, there's actually some opportunity here. We should be paying attention to it. And that's kind of where we went. And then on top of that, everybody wants to talk about, especially these last 2 years, how are we going to survive the inevitable changes that are coming from CMS, right? And every social media platform, everybody that talks about it, is the answer is cross-sell, right? Well, the answer is always cross-sell, right? What's the best mechanism in doing that? When you're a Medicare agent, you're very busy during AEP, and you're restricted in the product lines that you can discuss in those meetings, right? And all agents have the intention of, that's okay, first quarter of the year, I'm going to get out that list, and I'm going to reach back out to everybody and convince them to come back in and see me again, even though they just saw me 2 months ago. And then I'm going to go ahead and sell them on these other products if it makes sense for them, right? And I found that your model, the client appreciation dinners, is such a better pathway, right? You've got the clients, they already trust you. Go take them to dinner. Take them to dinner. Say thank you for being a client. Educate them on some other key pieces of retirement that you offer that's important for them to be paying attention to. And you just have tremendous, much more success with that than you do just trying to bring people back into your office for an additional review outside of their review, right?
Well, and obviously that's one of the reasons I'm out here in Oregon this week is to
Right.
do a couple client appreciation seminars for some other agents. I haven't really pimped this a lot on my channel, but it's something that people should be doing. If you're really at the point where you're trying to cross sell your book of business, there is no better system than client appreciation seminars, and it's for multiple reasons. But we'll bring like last night, we did a show with 25 people, 50-minute show. Talked to them a little about life insurance, a little bit long-term care, a little bit about annuities. Set appointments with 22 out of 25. We'll probably write a little over $1 million before the week's over. That's what the average has been on 108 shows over the last 10 years. So I know those averages pretty well. And if you're lucky, you could be north of $50,000 of commissions in a week.
Yeah.
But it's the group psychology. The thing that people don't understand about client appreciation seminars that they've never done them before is that you'll never run into a hotter lead than one that comes from a client appreciation seminar.
Yeah.
Half of the appointments that you walk into, everything they have is on the table saying, tell me what I think you should do or what you think I should do. It's
Right.
because it's sold the night before where they watched all of their peers ask questions and give head nods and say, I'd like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, scare the heck out of me if my entire marketing system was buying leads or selling one product, just as bad. You got to evolve to where you're thinking the long game from a marketing standpoint, and you eventually have to be able to cross-sell other products.
Right.
Not only do you make more money, but all of those residual policies that you've sold stay on the books now. So, by the way, I've got everything anybody would ever need for client appreciation seminars. If you ever want to reach out to me, if you haven't already seen that before.
Yeah, and with the client appreciation seminars, I would add in, if I were to poll an average agent's clients and say, hey, how does this person, what do they offer? I mean, I would bet a high wager that the majority of those people have no idea the amount of products that person can show. And think of, such a low pressure environment. It's not a sales presentation what you do. There's no specific product you're even pointing to. It's an education piece. It's putting in front of this agent's clients, hey, he can help you in all of these ways. That it's an important topic too. It's life insurance, it's long-term care, it's safe money. And I think that is the best way to just softly put that out in front of people and educate them that you can do more than their Medicare or their health policy. And to your point to them staying on the books, something we really try to ingrain in our agents, it's a retention measure. So everything we do, it's multi-faced, right? So you can't just look at a client appreciation dinner as, man, I hope I go write a bunch of life insurance and make a bunch of money off that dinner, right? You got to look at it as, what did that do to my retention, right? I educated these people. I bought them a nice dinner, showed that I cared. I promised they haven't had another agent do that, right? So you set yourself apart from the market. And two, it's the retention. If you are successful in getting additional policies in a household, the 30, 60, 90 rule applies. And for those of you who don't know what the 30, 60, 90 rule is, it's very simple. It's if you have a client with one policy in the household, say a Medicare policy, there's a 30% chance that you're going to retain that client long-term. They're going to be on your books for long-term, 30%, okay? If you have two policies, maybe you sold them a Medicare policy and a dental or a hospital indemnity add-on, that number doubles to 60%. And then if you get three policies in that household, we're all the way up to 90%. And the right individuals that are looking at this, again, for the long term, those metrics are crucial. Those metrics are super crucial, especially if you're looking to exit the market. If you don't think that has a factor in your valuation, if you're trying to sell an agency one day, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, it's literally double. I mean, I helped somebody, they didn't do it, but they were trying to evaluate. And when we brought in people that really knew how to evaluate, having a book of business that was cross-sold at least 50% plus was double the points. It went from
Yeah.
a 3x to almost a 7x
Right.
by having a cross sell.
Yeah, policy per household as an agency owner should be one of the most important metrics you're tracking.
Yep. Yep. Well, let's shift gears a second here. You have always kind of been my little mentor with technology. I'm 50 years old, right in that in between stage there where I'm not completely allergic to technology, but I'm always behind. You're always the one that's keep me on the tip of the spear with that. Tell me what AI tools you're using these days that might be a good tip for agents to hear.
Well, there's a lot out there, right? So finding the right one that fits your model and what you're trying to accomplish, I don't have the answers for you in that regard because there's so many. But I think everybody should be paying attention to it and trying to find ways to bring that into their business to automate some of their processes. Um, uh, could I point to a specific product that everybody should be using and give an endorsement? I can't. I haven't found one that's for sure the one we're going to use forever, right? But I know there's obviously lots of money being thrown in those directions, and it can really help an agency from an automation standpoint.
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't think there's some magic insurance AI that's out there, but what AI is, at least at this point, is it's a major advantage for time management. That's really what it is. It's a tool to save a bunch of time on something that used to take you a long time so you can dedicate that towards things that you never would have got to. I put out, I know one that you're not using that you got to try, but I put out a video a couple, 2 or 3 months ago on a quick little AI app called Perplexity that I use instead of Google now. So, like when you Google something out, it gives you a whole bunch of links that'll tell you where to go to find the answers. Sometimes it gives you the answer, but a lot of times it's a lot of links and you got to choose which one to pick on and figure out what the answer is. Well, Perplexity waives all that stuff. There's no links. It just tells you the answer. So it saves you that time of searching. Those quick little, 10-second saves right there are huge. Another one that I really like that I've fallen in love with is an AI app called Memail, where I don't know about you. Yes, I do. I know you're the same way. Like you do most of your thinking as soon as your brain hits the pillow at night.
Yeah.
And I'm always waking up, trying to pull up my phone, send myself an email of a reminder on something. I'm blind at night, so it takes me forever to get my email typed in there. You can just hit this app. It's a voice report app, and as soon as you're done, it sends it directly to your email as your reminder the next morning. So there's just so many of these little AI apps that will save 5 minutes here and 2 minutes here that I think they're important. But I know one thing. I know you can be modest, but I know that you're a Chat GPT big time user. Tell everybody the story, what you told me yesterday in the truck about this new Chat GPT model.
Yeah, so there's a new model that's called Agent, and it's getting to the point where it can complete complex tasks for just about anything. And I watched a video of somebody demonstrating this, and I believe the scenario was he prompted ChatGPT Agent to come up with the perfect Thanksgiving dinner and research the recipes, put all the products in my Instacart so I can buy it. And it went through, and you can watch it while it's doing it. It's researching recipes, finding which ones are good, which ones aren't good, and then compiling the ingredients list for all of those, and then goes to Instacart, and it realizes it can't get into his Instacart, so it prompts him to log in so it can continue doing the task. And it did the whole process in like 5 minutes. And that's just going to continue to grow, right? I'm sure that's just a very surface level example of what it can do. And, finding tools like that for your business. I mean, show me a business that couldn't benefit from something like that.
Yeah, and it's insane where it's gone.
Yeah.
I think it was 2020, fall of 2020, that I came out here for a trip and we went to the redwood forests and you showed me all the cool stuff in Southern Oregon. And we're driving back and you said, have you ever listened to Joe Rogan? And I had no idea what the heck you were talking about. All I knew him from, was MMA. And so we listened to this podcast. I'd never listened to a podcast in my life before 2020. Now I listen to him way probably more religious than you do. I love that show. But, if you do listen to that, Rogan show the last many months, he gets scared to death as he brings guests on talking about AI and where things are going,
Yeah.
with AI. I know that that's something that concerns you to some degree.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think it'd be foolish to think that AI is not going to be disruption in our space. Um, the question becomes, and you and I have talked a lot about this, the question becomes, does capability equal trust, right? The capability is going to happen. It may have already happened. The capability of doing what we do, it's there. And then the question becomes, does the market follow it? Do consumers follow it? Do they trust it? I hold out a little bit of faith that, especially with our model, it's all face-to-face interactions. We're meeting with our clients in the office. It's not over the phone. We're not a call center by any stretch of the imagination. And I think people crave that. I think they feel a lot more comfortable with that. Now, will that be the case in 10 years? I don't know. But I think at least in the short term, that's going to hold true, right? And I think, and my comparable to that is the call centers. Call centers really got into the Medicare market over the last decade. And it was a convenience thing, right? They can call everybody in every state and offer plans and do this. And it has had the opposite effect from our experience. It's driven more people to us than I think they've sold because they're fed up with it. They're fed up with the robocalls and the promises and this and that. They just want somebody that they can go look in the eyes and give them advice. So will AI have a similar effect? I don't know. But I think it's foolish not to be thinking about it.
Well, I think it's generational. I think by the time Gen X gets to the point where they're at retirement land, they're going to be perfectly cool with talking to Siri as their new insurance agent.
Yeah.
But I think we've got a while. I think that, like you said, I think the capabilities are there right now that they probably could make AI that could do and write a policy better than you or I could.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think the people are out there right now that are retired, getting close to retirement. I don't think the trust factor is just not there right now. I just don't think it is. I don't think it's something we've got to worry about right now. I think it's an advantage time. I was in the mortgage business 1999 to 2005. And if you think about that, that's right when the internet really started coming through. When we started emailing and started using basic tasks of the internet. And the people that recognized that before the other people did exploded. And they use that to their advantage. And we're kind of like that with AI right now, except it's probably times 10. The operations and the opportunity gap between the people that are diving in using AI right now versus the ones that aren't. In a couple of years, they won't catch them.
Sure.
So are you, we're almost August now. You guys gearing up already for AEP?
Oh, yeah. It's certification season, man. Everybody is getting their AHIP done, getting their carrier certs done, waiting on pins and needles to see what more disruption is going to be happening this year, right? And I believe that this year is going to be just as disruptive, if not worse, than last year.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah. I mean, I can only speak to the markets that we're in, right? But we're seeing more small carriers pull out of markets. We're seeing contracts tighten up. We're seeing hospitals cancel plans. All of that is going to happen. We're seeing plans move the commission, right? And so everybody's just kind of on pins and needles right now to see what the fallout's going to be. But if I had to guess, we're going to have a very disruptive year, right? And so we look at that in both positive and negative. For an opportunity perspective, disruption can be very good. Last year was very good. We captured a lot of new clients with people losing their plans. Again, that's why that being in the right places at the right time is important. So there's a positive element to that too, but it also there's a chaos element to it as well.
Well, let me ask you one more question on that point, because I talked earlier that, one of the things I'm so impressed with you guys is your grassroots. But the other thing is you guys keep growing. You keep bringing on more and more customers every AEP, yet you still have to service those people.
Yeah.
And it always seems to me with most agents or agencies, there's this line in the sand that it's a race to get there where they got a bunch of clients. And then all of a sudden, the service part of that job takes over so much that they really don't have time to market and grow so much. But you guys keep on this steady pace. How do you do that?
Well, there's no secret recipe to it, right? So we have agents that aren't focused on growth. They're at capacity. And the only way you're going to move past that capacity is hiring staff. And we have some agents that do that, right? They have CSRs to help them with the service work so that they can focus on other things. Um, but you've got to pay attention to what your risk is, right? So when right before AEP and once we finally have the market information, I will sit down with our team and go over what we see, what we think is going to happen, what's a push plan, what's not a push plan, who's going to be impacted by this, who's not. This hospital changed networks. Who's affected by that? And you kind of have to start prioritizing based off risk, right? And something that I learned this last year through the depth research by Integrity was your largest risk factor of changes year over year is actually your younger clientele, your 65 to 67 year olds. I wouldn't have guessed that, but their research shows that.
Why is that?
I'd have to get back out the study to give you the specifics, but that was the takeaway, right? But there was reasons, and they're very good at what they do. Depth research is very good at what they do. So I wholeheartedly believe it. So I know that in our plan this year, that's going to be a focus. Make sure we're touching those 65 to 67 year olds. And then you have to, you have to get in front of all your clients and give them an update, right? You can't just let the A not go to them and just cross your fingers and hope for the best. Hope they're still on your books come January. We make a priority to reach out to everybody in some capacity. Some capacity is, hey, your plan's not changing very much. If they're on a stable plan, if you've been happy with it, I don't need to see you unless you're not happy with it. Then we can talk about something else, right? So starting to prioritize what those appointment shifts look like to free up your time to be able to go out and be in the market where you want to be to get new clients.
I think where I was getting earlier, my question though is that, I know that you've got all this service work for these annual reviews that you have to do every year. Are you guys doing like bringing people in groups?
Sure.
To save time to
Yeah.
do the kind of basic mundane review stuff?
Yeah. When you get to a certain capacity, you have to, right? And educate as many people in a group setting as you can with the changes. And there's going to be appointments set from people that are like, okay, this isn't good. I need to move. Here's why. You know what I mean? But some of those people are going to be, okay, that's not that big of a deal, or that's a positive for me. I don't really need an appointment, right? And so that frees up your calendar. But yeah, utilizing group meetings is essential when you get to a certain size. I definitely wouldn't recommend that for, your smaller independent agents if you don't have a large book. I think if you're small, man, your customer service is your best friend. You want to be one-on-one with every one of your clients, building that relationship and continuing to grow. But it's through success, you'll reach a point where that becomes harder, right? So you have to start doing things a little bit different. Yeah.
Very cool. Very good.
So I got a question for you.
What's that?
We're doing this podcast, and you're not Joe Rogan, as much as, maybe one day. But, so it's not money while you're doing this. Tell me a little bit about what you're trying to accomplish with the show and why.
I look out there and in our business, it's got a problem with it. And that's everybody likes to keep everything secret. These captive companies, you got to come and work for us in order to get all the secrets or how to sell this product or get access to these products. No, you don't. You don't have to do that to get that information. And then you've got, these channels on YouTube and all the social media fronts and podcasts. You got the big guys like Cody Askins, who's a really good promoter. But I don't think any of that stuff that those guys are putting out, and I'm not trying to talk negative on anybody, I don't think it has a lot of value for somebody that's been in the business past 6 months. It's a whole lot of rah-rah stuff that has an end at the end of, we want you to buy this or use this or purchase this or contract through us. And I just think I think that there's a group of agents out there that they just need some guidance from some people that have been down the road a little farther than they have. And it shouldn't have to cost money. I think it should be, you talk about Rogan, he's always talking about how comedians should help each other, build each other up. I think our business should be the same thing, and it shouldn't cost money to do that. Yep. So I don't know the reason why. I don't know if I'll do it for, a long time or until I catch Joe. but for right now, it's fun. I've got the time to do it. I'm not going super aggressive. I talk to friends and people in the business I like to have a chat with. And I think there's probably some people out there that would watch this video that could pull a couple nuggets out of the conversation we had and learn something from what we said today.
Sure. Yeah.
That's my biggest answer.
Yeah. Well, that's a good answer. I mean, again, that ties back to what we're trying to do with Apex, not at the level you are, but just from a culture standpoint, right? Having the ability to talk to somebody that's walked in your shoes and is just a little bit further ahead than you. How did they get there? What did they do? It's important. That community is important.
Well, let me ask you a final little question here, a little plug for you, but are you guys still looking for agents, for people to come on board? Sure. I'll give you a little opportunity if you want to plug yourself just a second.
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for agents that are trying to build what we have, right? If you're trying to open up a call center and you want to work from home and just be on the phone, I'm not going to have a lot of advice for you. But if you're somebody out there that wants to start building a community program and build an office somewhere and really grow in that capacity, we've got a lot of resources and tools and know-how to help you with that process. So, we do anywhere from green thumb captive agents to independent agents. It's mainly what we do, right? You can come get contracts with Apex without taking a haircut, and you get access to us. And like I said earlier in the podcast, everybody on my team that you'll talk to has been there, done that.
Yeah. Well, look, obviously it's probably going to seem, of course, I'm going to back that up, but you are my oldest protege in this business, so I know you've built it right. And it's your company's not for everybody, but sure. But you're a small mini IMO that is all relationship based, and for the right people that just want to work with really cool, really good people, and not necessarily get marching orders on a day-to-day basis, but want true guidance they can trust, and not really spending an arm and leg to get that from a comp standpoint. I think it would be a great fit for anybody that's in those scenarios to reach out. Why don't you tell everybody how to get a hold of you, Derek?
Easiest way would probably just go to our website, myapexplan.com. Okay. There's an agent tab where you can put in an inquiry and somebody from our team will reach out.
Very good. Very good. Brother, thank you for spending some time with me on this. We're definitely going to have to do this maybe on a regular basis, but right now I think it's time to go find the links.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. See you, everybody.